Hello everybody. Today our group is going to present about the phrase justice delayed is justice denied. So I suggest you to keep watching this video. First, let us go with the basic things about justice delayed is justice denied. So it is a legal maxim. It means that if a legal redress or equitable relief to an injured party is available, but it is not forthcoming in timely fashion, it is effectively the same as having no remedy at all. Due to heaviness of pending cases, backbone of our judiciary system is broken into in every country. In between seeking justice and deliverance of justice, there are a lot of or requested and formalities of rules and regulation, and also prescribed governing proceedings of the court time consuming but unavoidable for the purpose. A country's judiciary is also for every citizen for justice. Unfortunately, judiciary system is based on the evidence and facts and not on moral or conscience, which makes it hard for citizens to get sore justice, which is time-consuming procedure. So let's move on the statistics with Shreya.
According to the statistic, you can see that our judiciary system is divided into three parts, which is Supreme Court, High Court, sub courts. So as you can see, if you see the difference between the sanction strength of all the three with the current strength and with the vacancy, there is a huge gap. And as you can, the most important thing is the backlogs that are pending in Supreme Court, High Court, sub courts and district, which is in Supreme Court it is 60,000. In a High Court it is 38 lakhs 91,076, and in district and sub courts you can see that it is even more huge, which is 2 lakhs 30,079,000. And if you see it in the state, the number of states which are having the highest number of case backlogs, the first number comes to Uttar Pradesh, then Maharashtra, then Gujarat, Bihar, and then West Bengal. If you see the world statistic, the first position goes to France, then USA, then Australia, then Canada, then England, and lastly our India. And almost it is 84% of the cases are pending in the court. We don't know when we are getting our justice and when the court will prosecute all these cases on timely basis. Now I'll talk about a case study, which is a very horrific story that occurred in India, the Nirbhaya gang rape and murder in India, 2012. On the cold night of December 16, 2012, a 23 years old woman was brutally assaulted and raped in the moving bus in South Delhi. Her name was Jyoti Singh. She was a female psychotherapist intern and was beaten, gang raped, and tortured on December 16, 2012 in Munirka, a neighborhood in South Delhi. She was traveling with her friend Avindhya Prasad Pandey. The woman and her friend Pandey were returning home after watching the movie Life of Pi on the night of December 16, 2012. They boarded off a duty Carter bus on Munirki bus, standing in where there were six other men, including the bus driver. The bus started moving off route direction and the man shut the doors in the vehicle. Suspecting something wrong, when Pandey raised an objection, he was shouted down and scuffled down out as the men were drunk, started molesting her. Her friend was knocked down with a rod and the men dragged her into back of the bus, repeatedly gang raped for an hour. As she fought back, one of the juvenile attackers inserted an iron rod into her private parts, pulling and ripping her intestines away. The bus driver drove all over Delhi while this was happening. After the attack, both of them were thrown out of the bus to die at the side of the road. Two were found half dead by passengers who informed the Delhi police. She was taken to the Safdarzun hospital where doctor found she was only 5% of her intestines was left inside her body. She succumbed to her injury on December 29, 2012. In her statement to police, she said she wanted justice against the six attackers. The incident led to widespread demonstration and protest against the country. It started changing the law about the violence against women. All the six men in Nirbhaya case, including the juvenile, were convicted by the court. All the accused were identified as Ram Singh, Mukesh Singh, Vinay Gupta, Pawan Gupta, Ajay Thakur, and the juvenile Ram Singh, the bus driver, committing suicide on March 11, 2013 in Tihar jail during the trial. The minor was tried separately in juvenile court and was given maximum sentence of 3 years imprisonment in the reform facility. In September 13, the trial court had awarded capital punishment to Mukesh, Ajay, Pawan, and Vinay. Subsequently, the three convicts beside Ajay had sought reviews on judgment, but it was dismissed. The order on the review petition filed by Ajay was dismissed by the court on December 18, 2019. So you can see it almost took 8 years. Is it fair for any woman in our country or in anywhere in the world to get this justice? Okay, I'll now pass on the mic to Liya for her next case study.
Okay, the next study is Nile River crisis in Ethiopia and Egypt. In 1929, Egypt nominally an independent kingdom, but in reality still controlled by Imperial Britain, signed an Anglo-Egyptian agreement over the Nile, which gave it legal hegemony over the world's longest river. In bilateral 1959 treaties, Sudan was allocated about 80.5 billion cubic meter per annum, and the evaporation of 18 billion cubic meter, leaving the other 55.5 billion cubic meter for Egypt. Both manifestly unfair agreements left out the 9 upstream African countries. Ethiopia launched the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam GERD in 2011, driven by this injustice and desire to escape poverty through industrial government. South Korea alone consumes about more energy than Africa, excluding Egypt and South Africa. That's the correct perspective to understand the Great Renaissance Dam of Ethiopia. So justice has been denied for Ethiopians, and their right for equitable use for their own Blue Nile waters has been denied. Because of Egyptian malicious conspiration and deliberate actions, Egypt must discard her old strategies and instead accept an approach to fit for the time, and that best protect her long-term national interest. So Egypt should agree to use her water stored in her High Aswan Dam reservoir, where Ethiopia redirects enough water from Blue Nile. The originate in Ethiopia and used it to fill the Great Renaissance Dam is 79 billion cubic meter reservoirs as quickly as possible. This will likely last only for 3 years, and after the filling is completed, then the entire Blue Nile water will start to flow to Egypt uninterruptedly, like it has been for thousands of years. So this, as you can see on the picture, the origin of the Nile is Blue Nile. So the origin of the Blue Nile is on Ethiopia, and part of Blue Nile is about part of 75% of the Nile River. So for years, Ethiopia didn't use this her own her own river due to their Egyptians agreement and Anglo agreement. So as you can see, only Khartoum and Egypt, only Sudan and Egypt is used for 1,000 of years from this Blue Nile. So I will pass to the Nishit for the next case study.
So, now I would like to discuss something about the popular crime in India, honor killing. Honor killing, also known as customary killing, is defined as the murder or forced suicide of a person by a family or a group member, or a hired killer upon the suspicion and suggestion that a person has compromised his or her virtue and thus stained the family's honor, or in other words, upon the notion in intuition that one has been involved in something immoral and thus disgraced his or her family. So now I would like to share some of the stories with you. In November 2014, a 21-year-old Delhi University student, Bhavna Yadav, was strangled to death by her parents just 3 days after her marriage, because she tied the knot against her parents' wishes. Bhavna was allegedly killed by her father Jagmohan Yadav and her mother Savitri Yadav at her house in southwest Delhi, Dwarka North. According to the reports, after killing their daughter, the parents took the body to Alwar in Rajasthan and set it on fire. Bhavna had married 24-year-old Abhishek Seth on November 12 against the wishes of her family. So, this is the case of honor killing, which is practiced in India every nowadays, every minute, and in every city.
Okay, so as you have seen all the case studies, now let's make an observation. What we have noticed from all those case studies and from justice delayed and justice denied. First is defective legislation. Second is inadequate of judges. Third is lengthy procedures. Fourth is money involved in the case or corruption. Fifth is hasty and judicious action by the executives.
On this presentation, we could record some solutions, but it may be or may not be correct. First, alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Second, Lok Adalat. Third, e-courts. Fourth, appointing more judicial staff. Fifth, priorities to the important cases.
So we put our conclusions on our study regarding to this problem. So our conclusion is that now the time has arrived when people are asking for a speedy trial of cases. They do not want their next generation to get in the verdict of case with the institution. So case disposal rate has gone down drastically compared to the past, and to the other end, more and more number of cases coming up in courts, forums, tribunals, and so on. It seems clearly that present judicial administration is not capable enough to cope with the explosion of litigation. So I would like to invite Shreya to tell a story about those pictures.
Okay, as you can see from the pictures, you see that the mother, her daughter has been raped, or maybe she was murdered. She is always coming up to the court for justice, but as you can see, because of money, because our judiciary is blind, or after days, months after months, every court hearing, she's begging that please give justice to my daughter. but they are not listening. In the second quote, it's in the second picture, you can see a blind lady who's wearing a scarf on her eyes. Just like this lady, even our justice system or our judiciary system is blind. They cannot see people's pain. They just only want facts and evidences. And as you can see, the skeleton, they're saying, are you blind? Yes, they are blind. How can they see it? Justice delayed is justice denied. If we could wish, we could switch justice as justified. Thank you. With this, we come to an end of this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shreya. So everybody, uh, we think that you get some idea about this topic. So we are thank you for watching us.